Okay, I printed a whole bunch of Compass and Inks. I think it's called Spring maybe Junk Journal Kit. It's really nice. And I printed this on tissue paper. It's called tracing paper, which is what I bought from Amazon, like 400 sheets for maybe $11. But it's very, very thin, and it printed up beautifully. Now, hold on. A quick tip. This is a piece of cardstock that I've used many times now through my printer, and it has a strip at the top of Basics temporary tape, as closest to the edge as I can get it. It has a little piece here and a little piece here, but none at the bottom. And that's what enables this to go through. And I just put a piece of tissue paper and mount it like so. Press it down from the middle. Press it on the top. Get it as even and as close to the top as you can. And then slide your hand down the middle and gently push to the side. The reason you don't put any at the bottom is, as this paper is going through the rollers in the printer, it'll get messed up if it's constrained down here. It definitely needs this in order to feed it through. This helps to guide the two sides, and I wouldn't put any more than that on it, but nothing at the bottom, because then it will kind of print pretty well, as you can see. So what I plan to do with these is make bags out of them. So next I will show you the one I'm going to work on now, which is pretty simple. They're gorgeous. Look at how pretty these papers are on tissue. So you really could use these for almost anything. And they're quite beautiful. And I could cut them up and just glue them onto other pages because they're translucent. But now I've got to find the one the one I was planning to use. Let me see, which one was it? I had put a crease on the top, and then I thought, oh, here it is. This is it. This is the one. So let me get these out of the way. And I will show you how I make the bags. I'm not the only one that does it. Everybody does it. And this would look prettier if I put it on a white sheet, of course. See how much prettier it is? But I like to use the grid lines on my work surface, but you can see how beautiful this is. A little darker under here. Okay, first thing I do is turn it to the back side. I always use the shiny side as the back side. And I take this down half an inch, just a half an inch at the top. And I'll use a glue stick for that. So in order to not get glue on my work surface, I have these backing sheets. I usually cut them up into fourths, this 8.5 by 11, and I use them to put on, you know, various journal papers and so forth. But it's very handy to have to glue a surface. And that's what I'm going to do now. In fact, let's see, I probably will use 2 more just in case. And another one here. And this way, you can use a whole sheet if you happen to have it, but these little sheets are handy for me to work with. So I'm just going to run some glue. Sorry for my voice, cough, cold, whatever. Okay, I'm going to glue some down here. And I don't need this sheet anymore at the moment. So I've already pre-pressed the fold So now I'm gently pressing it down. There we go. Okay, so that takes care of the top. And then what I do is bring one edge forward. And at this point, I'm not concerned about the middle or anything. I'm just concerned that I get a little tiny overlap. And I usually gauge it so that the top is even. And we're talking 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, 1/8 of an inch. And I can see that it works there. So what I'm going to do is use a little bit of liquid glue. And I like to use Bearly Art glue. It's my favorite. I got a pin in my mouth. I shouldn't do that, I'm sure, but this way I don't lose it. And I'm going to just run a bead of glue down here. Stick this down from the middle. Whoops. I need to have it up there. And, whoops, this is not a very, not doing a very good job. Sorry about that. I've done these, but now it's more concerned about the middle. But I don't want it to be stuck to the back. Now, I really should have used one of my sheets underneath there, but I didn't. So I'm really cautious about putting my glue there. All right, so now I've got the top, and if I've got a piece that might be unglued, I can take care of that later. So now I decide, you know, how I want the front to look. And I'm thinking it would be good if this were smack dab in the middle. So let's go with that. Because actually, it's actually, the print is coming out rather nicely at the smack dab in the middle. So now I will press that. That's going to be the middle of the gusset. And that's the middle of the gusset. And then I bring up, let's see, I'm talking about, depends how big a bottom you want. You'll make a shorter bag the higher you bring it up. So I just like to do it relatively short, just to give it a little thing. So I bring it up, it's about 1 inch. Okay. And then I open it up. And I'm going to sit down for this so I can get it lined up perfectly. And what I'm trying to do is get this crease that is at the bottom exactly lined up with this edge. And there I go. Do the same thing over here. Line it up with this edge. Yep, there, just like so. And then I'm going to bring, it would be easier if I cut this off, but I'm going to just eyeball it. I hope I'm in the frame. Yeah, I think I am, so maybe I could bring it closer. Let me see. So you can see exactly what is being done. So now I will take this up, raise it up. I will concentrate on this since this could be cut. And I'm going to bring it up just a little bit, like so. It doesn't matter a whole lot. The object I'm going for is that I can overlap it by a tad when I bring this part down. And not too much. So it looks pretty good. Let me see. What I try to do is make this little diamond here pretty even. So that's kind of what I use as a guide. Now, it's not going to have a great big deep bottom. So now I've done that. Now, here's the part you got to be careful with. if you use liquid glue, because you don't want to glue this soaking through. What I'm trying to do is glue this corner and this little triangle, and likewise here and here, and then across the top. And bring it back, gently push it down, and have some kind of a tool, like a piece of card or something that, while it's still wet, I use this piece of, I don't know what this is called. This is artificial wood. And I use it as a bone folder sometimes. And what I'm trying to do now is make sure I didn't glue it shut. So I'm trying to open it up. And it also helps if you have like a metal ruler or something, because I'm trying to just make sure the bottom is not sticking to anything. Okay. And then there's two things you can do. Is you can push it back down like so, like I had it. And then you fold, you look at this corner right here, and you fold it. Either, it doesn't matter front or back. These are going to be the two parts of creating the gusset. But you fold it right where that little triangle is, pretty much. And then, because this is tissue paper, with regular paper it would work probably a little bit easier. You have to finesse the inside one to go inside again. So it's a line here, and the middle line. And if you can just bring those together, it's a little fiddly because of the thinness of this paper. And I'm trying to see through. So start it here. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now, it would have helped if I'd had that middle definite crease the opposite direction. Because I want it to be the valley fold, I guess you call it. And then these two are the mountain folds. That means they're at the top. And so you'll see where it wants to go. And like I said, it's quite delicate because of the thinness, I mean real super thinness of this paper. So there it goes, there, and there, and there. Just make sure the glue that you've put on this little piece is dry. And now you want to create that little gusset. It should be a little flat rectangle. So it's a bit fiddly, I have to say. So this one here, I'm going to ease that down here. And do the same thing here. I could use that tool. If you have a ruler handy, you know, you could do it. Let's try this and see if I can get it better aligned. I'm trying to make sure that crease at the bottom is a square. Yeah. And then these can be nice and firm. And then I've got that side pretty much done. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, I mean, you can manipulate it some more. This paper is easy to fold. It's just harder to grab. You know, you can push it out a little bit. All right, I think that's kind of good enough. And this part here, I'm going to stick this thing in here again and create a nice flat bottom with the gusset. There we go. And bring these two together. Try to keep this straight. And since this is the front, I want it to look nice. So I flip it up. And there I go. I probably could have finagled this a little bit better down here. But I'm not going to fool with that now. You'll see I have a lovely little bag. Get back out again. And there we go. Now you can try this with regular copy paper. Works the same way, same principle, probably a lot easier. But I was going for that vellum-y or tissue paper look. And I think I did it pretty well. I could play with this one. I need to bring that fold down just a tad more. Let's see if I can do that. If you had a piece of wood, like a ruler, you know, that might work, because I can see it's a little bit higher right here than it needs to be. Let's see if I can bring this thing over to that corner. Push it down. And bring this in a little bit. Yeah, if I had a nice, perfectly 1 inch, I guess that's an inch, pretty much, yeah, inch bottom, an inch ruler, you could line that up pretty well. All right, I'm going to stop it here because I've got several of this to make. But it makes just the loveliest little bag. Yeah, I made several of these earlier. Hold on, I'll show you. Okay, this is the first time I've used the Compass and Ink papers, which I think you'll agree make an absolutely gorgeous bag. This was just a plain white one I started practicing with, and then I applied some printed deli wrap pieces to it, and likewise here, similar bag with the bottom and a polka dotted back. This is how I set up my printer to use those patterns, which were not. And this one here, I've got to find out what I used here because I really do love that. But I should have printed it all the way to the border. Then I wouldn't have had this inked bottom, which looks okay, but it's still pretty. I made this one with a sticker on the back, and I have 2 of these. So you can see I've been having fun making them, and this Compass and Ink paper is just gorgeous. Just absolutely beautiful. Printed makes a lovely bag. And if you use copy paper, then it's a little firmer, but I like the thinness of this paper. So hopefully that's going to be useful to someone.